Morning, everyone. Grace and peace. Welcome to Find the Intersection. My name is Paul Dezay. Today's Thursday. Today, we're going to be talking about Psalm 50, verses 1 to 8 and 22 to 23. Psalm 50, verses 1 to 8, 22 to 23. If you haven't read the passage, check it out in a couple translations. Here are a few things that stood out to me. So in my Bible, it talks, this psalm is described as the acceptable sacrifice. It is a psalm of Asaph. And the first, let's say 6 verses in this passage communicate that God is the judge. In fact, this whole the whole psalm seems like it's a courtroom scene where God is speaking judgment over his people. So there is this sense of God is judge, and the people are declared guilty based on their actions. You can see in different places, let's see, verse number 16, which isn't in our passage. It talks about, but to the wicked, God says, what right do you have to recite my statutes or to take my covenant upon your lips? For you hate discipline and you cast my words behind you. You make friends with a thief when you see one, and you keep company with adulterers. There is a sense that just like in yesterday's passage in Isaiah 1, the religious people are kind of all fluff. They do all the right things and they say all the right things, but in reality, their heart is not focused upon God. And so God calls them out on it, and that's what this particular passage is about. Second thing that stood out to me, and this is verse number 23 and 4, it says, mark this then, you who forget God, or I will tear you apart, and there will be no one to deliver. Those who bring thanksgiving as their sacrifice honor me. So there's this idea that we are called to bring thanksgiving as our sacrifice. So this kind of goes back to Leviticus, the first 5 chapters, where it talks about the different sacrifices. And all of those sacrifices in Leviticus are ways for people to draw near to God. And the first 3 of those 5 sacrifices in Leviticus are about thanksgiving and gratitude. And so God truly wants, before he wants a sacrifice in the sense of guilt and shame, God wants gratitude. Because gratitude transforms us. There's so much that's been proving that gratitude leads to joy, and God desires for us to have joy in our relationship with him. But thanksgiving or gratitude is a key part of that. And so let's remember that gratitude draws us into the presence of God. When we count our blessings, we are like presenting ourselves as an offering before the Lord. And so gratitude is key. The third thing is this reference in this, what I just read about, forgetting God. So there's this idea of remembrance and forgetfulness that's a part of this psalm. And so I think it's incredibly important as we take a look at the Bible. There is a thread that runs through it about the forgetfulness of God's people. They forget what's important. They forget God. They forget his ways and his love. And God continues to say throughout the Old Testament and the New to remember, do this in remembrance of me, remember the statutes, do the Passover in remembrance of my deliverance from Egypt. And we forget, right? So we need rhythms in our life to remember. And so we do certain things to remember. We read scriptures every day, practice our grace habits to remember. We need to remember, because if we don't remember, we will forget. And forgetfulness will allow us to drift away from God. And so let's remember. That's what I got. Hey, what did you get? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about the weekly intersections. So much good stuff in this week's passages. So grace and peace. See you, everybody.